Hello, and welcome to the Comedian's Paradise. This is the podcast where we hear stories and get comedy advice from mavericks across the comedy and clown world. Now, today's guest has corrected me in saying that she has conquered the clown world for over 40 years. She is a maverick. She is a queen. Please welcome the fantastic Lee Delong.
Why, thank you. Thank you, Marvin. I'm very flattered by your introduction, that's for sure. And I hate to give away how old I am. So, yeah, we could just say 40 plus. That could be anything.
Oh yes, yeah,
40
I'll just say
plus could
40
be
plus.
41 or it could be 60.
But with you being in the clowning and entertainment world, like what was your journey into it, and what has made you married to the art of clowning?
Well, very, very young, before I even started school, I would make my sisters laugh by doing routines. And then when I was 6, I was in a play called Mrs. Santa Claus Waits for Santa. And I improvised and I made the public laugh, and I was bitten. Ever since then, all I wanted to do was make people laugh. And so, I did the usual high school shows and community theater, and I did all that. And then I went to West Virginia University, where I studied theater in a BFA program. After that, I went to New York. I stayed in New York for about 3 years, doing really playing a lot my clown. And I tell you, at that time, my clown was I was self-taught, and I had a lot of ideas about clown which were wrong. My clown was mute, which is legitimate, but my clown shouldn't have been mute. I worked with a stilt walker named Toby Ballantyne, who was the son of one of the great clowns from the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, and I was white face, sad clown, white derby, juggling, unicycling, that kind of thing. And that led me to leave New York eventually. That's a whole different story why. But I left New York and I went to Lecoq School in Paris. And I didn't especially want to study anymore, but I was very curious about the clown. Unfortunately, the clown was at the end of 2 years, so I had to
Uh,
do the whole program to get to the clown. But of course, in the second year, I absolutely adored the school. So I did that, and then I continued studying clown with Alain Gautret, who has passed on since then, but was a great clown teacher and was one of the clown teachers for the Rire Médecin, the doctor clowns in Paris. So I'll tell you what really, because I've always been an actress in addition to being a clown. And what happened to me is in 1987, we finished Lecoq School and we made a company, a Croatian woman and we went to Croatia. Well, it was then Yugoslavia. And we toured 16 cities in then Yugoslavia with this performance of The Snow Queen. And my clown was in that show, and I would ride my unicycle around in the villages and make balloon animals for kids, and it just started catching on. It kind of became a thing that people were talking about. And then I returned in 1990 to do another show, which was a musical show. And then the war came. We were supposed to tour that show, but the war came. And when the war came, I felt very, very, very upset. I couldn't stand watching these massacres on TV when I knew my friends and colleagues were in Sarajevo in a siege. And so I made a program with UNESCO and the High Committee of Refugees, and I got blue helmet clearance to take military planes in, and I started teaching at their national school, the Academia Sensky Umiejętności. So I started teaching clown because I was an actress. I didn't know how to teach. I started teaching clown because I thought that's what I knew the best. And this was a wildfire. After I did that, everybody wanted me to teach clown. So I stopped playing my clown because I thought that I needed to separate my clown from teaching clown. And I started teaching clown all over in Croatia. Then it was, the countries had broken up, and it was Croatia and Serbia and Bosnia. And then it started getting all over the place. Like I went to Peru, I went to Qatar, I went all over the place, Brussels, Germany. I've taught clown in a lot of places to a lot of people. I'm sure there are over 1,000 clowns out there.
And what do I want to say about that? So I've got two questions that I want to ask about. There's so many questions to ask about that, but like with so through teaching over 1,000 people, what would you say is the type of person that becomes a clown, and what would you say are the type of characters that go into clowning?
Well, I think that a person who wants to be a clown more than anything will become a clown. A person who is just curious about it, of course, will not. Clowning is very, very solitary work. You have to work so hard on yourself. And the work that you must do on yourself is very psychological. Though you can't put any psychological work on the stage, the work of finding your clown, finding your auto derision, finding your point of view on the world, finding how your weakness is your strength, how your innocence is your shining light and your guide. To find all these things is very psychological work, and it's very solitary, and it's not easy. And that's just finding the clown. I'm not even talking about all the skills you need, like playing a musical instrument, doing juggling or acrobatics or one of these skills. Finding your clown is the most important thing. So in my classes, that's what I focus on. I don't teach acrobatics. I don't teach magic tricks. I don't teach anything like that. I teach, well, I guide. I guide you to find your clown and how to put that in a form, how to formulate, how to make scenes, because that's one of the major works of a clown. Making a scene is your work. Most clowns work alone to create their own material, and eventually they'll bring in an outside eye or a director or collaborators of some kind. But basically, you're doing it on your own, especially in the beginning. Now, I forget your question, Marvin, but I
I've
hope.
forgotten it as well. But no, what
I do like to say I guide a person to find their clown. I guide a person to know how to put that into a form, how to put that into a form so that they can do a sketch or do a show. And if I have a specialty as a teacher, I suppose that's it.
okay. Oh, what you said there is very sort of I think it's similar to a lot of art forms, isn't it? Like musicians, the Ozzy Osbourne, bless his heart. I mean, what's it called? Rest in peace. The Beatles, Elvis, stand-up comedians that are very unique. Milton Jones, who's like Dave Chappelle, Patrice O'Neill. What you said there is about finding out what works for you, finding your voice. That's what you said there, and
That's
that's
what
in
it
all
is.
art forms, yeah. And that's it. Um, but a lot of the times, I think a lot of people like to be what they've seen before, or they're scared of being different or being themselves. They try and, especially in stand up, there's a lot they follow what's gone on before. A lot of people are quite scared of being too different.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, this is I think one of the major things about a clown. The first thing I tell people is your clown is you. It's not a character that you put on. It's not a character you decide to be. Your clown is you. You have to look into yourself to find it. And I think it's probably similar for a stand-up comedian as well, because your clown is in fact a greater you, an exploded version of you, a bigger than life you. But it's amazing because the more you hone your clown and the more specific your clown becomes, the more the public can see archetypal characters or themselves in what you're doing, because you're getting closer and closer to whatever is human, because that's what the clown is. It's everything that's human, which is the opposite of Buffon, which is God and devil. It's very vertical.
That's a Philip Goli invention. Is that right in terms of Buffon? Was am I right in saying that Buffon?
Buffon, yeah. Well, we say in French Buffon, buffoon. It's a different style. It's completely different than clown. This is from Lecoq teaching, of course.
Okay.
Um, the Buffon is can fit into tragedy, and can be it's in contact with God and devil. The Buffon comes from somewhere else to the earth to make fun of the human condition. It can come from underground or from this from space or from the insect world or from some medieval world. It comes from somewhere else to make fun of the human condition. It amuses
Yeah.
itself with the human condition, whereas the clown is the human condition. The clown is everything human.
So what you said there, and I think a lot of people will know this, and there is a do you know Sacha Baron Cohen? Ali, no, what's a stupid question? Everyone knows Sacha Baron Cohen, Ali G, but he is a Buffon, and it's so funny always watching him in his shows where he plays Borat or like Ali G, and people think, oh, this is an oddball. Why the fuck's he doing this? No, he's actually very clever and very creative. What he's done, he's making an idiot out of the person he's interviewing and showing them for what they are by being an idiot in a way, and that's what makes it funny. They think that he's an idiot, but they don't realize that he's making a complete fool out of them.
See, in my definition of a buffoon, he would not be a buffoon. He
Okay.
he he is for me. It's like saying when people say Woody Allen is a clown, and I'm like, he ticks a lot of the boxes, but he's still not a clown for me. He's a comic actor, and I think Conan Brown is also a comic actor. I think because for me a Buffon, it's very specific, um, and he ticks the boxes. He is making fun of the people he's interviewing. He ticks the box of a Buffon, but it doesn't necessarily make him a Buffon. Is I don't know if you see the distinction or not, but I'm very very old school about these definitions. And even though I think that we live in the time of mixing, it's the temps de mélange. Everything crosses over. Circus becomes dance, becomes theater, becomes, you see what I mean? And clown becomes more like Buffon, becomes more like a stand up comedian, we're mixing things now, with our minds work faster because we cut images. We're used to scrolling and seeing films that cut images. We don't need to see you drink the tea, we just need to see you take the cup, and we know that you will drink the tea. So our minds finish the story before we see the image. And I think that because of that, we are accelerating in this mixing of different elements of
Okay.
comedy.
But so to anyone, so you would say that we're going to say this again, but who are examples that people will know of that are good examples of what you would define as a clown or as a Buffon? And tell me again why Sacha Baron Cohen isn't a Buffon. You would say.
Um, uh, Clowns, you've mentioned them. You have Slava, Django Edwards. You have Chaplin, Keaton. They're big references. You have George Carl. These are classic clowns. And for modern clowns, I was actually going to see. One of your questions to me was who to see, who to see. And I've listed some women
Okay.
because that for me is a very important thing about how the clown world has changed since I first came to it, is that the women came. It was always the men, the men, the men. If you see that generation, John Towson, Django Edwards, Avner the Eccentric, that generation, they're all men. But now the women have come, and they have come in armies. There are armies of women clowns. And so I would just like to mention a few that I think are very pertinent. This Clémence Cayuel, she does the Requiem for Sophie Whitman. She lives in Spain, but she does it in English. And it's absolutely brilliant. And this is a perfect mix, I think, I can't really call her a typical clown, and I can't really call her a bouffon. She's somewhere in a different area that's being created in a new world of comedy, a new world of circus, a new world of comic theater. So she's one, Clémence Cayuel. Charlotte Sayou, she's a French clown. Her clown's name's Jackie Star. One of her shows is Jackie Star. It's absolutely brilliant. She's a stewardess on a plane. It's absolutely hilarious. Then you have the duo Anna Delirium and Colette Gomet, and they do a show called The One and the One, which is, for me, very pure red-nosed clown. If you want to see what that is, that's a show to see. And I have to mention also Eva Peter Dragon and Palunka's wife, Palunka Kovajena. It's a brilliant one-woman show where she uses many skills. She's pure clown, and it's absolutely brilliant, if I must say so myself.
Okay.
But I'm proud of everything she does. So,
But a lot of stand-ups don't know much about clowning, so like explain to them what like why that's a good clown and what is, yeah, you're breaking to someone that's never even studied clown or like gone into a clown school. A lot of the stand-ups that are listening in now. So
well, I've never worked with a stand-up comedian. I would love to. I love stand-up. I watch it all the time. But if you want to know what a clown is very authentic. It is you. It is you need to search within yourself, within your point of view, within your realm of your universe. You have to search within your universe. You have to find out, first of all, what are your weaknesses? Because the first thing you will learn is that your weaknesses are your strengths. I mean, a stupid example, your ears stick out like this. Then I would say, put your hair behind your ears and show them. Your legs are skinny, wear short pants. Use them, use it. Those are silly examples, physical examples, but I'm talking also about clown. There are people who get angry very easily. Well, if they do, that should be in their clown. A clown who gets angry is hilarious. That's hilarious. So you learn that your strengths are your weaknesses, and you have to find the state of innocence, which is a childlike curiosity, because a lot of people try to act curiously, but really what you need to do is be curious about everything that you see, including the public, because like stand-up, the clown is fabulous. You can directly talk and deal with the public right in their eyes. You're very present for them. Probably these things would apply to a lot of the stand-up stuff that you work on. So I think that is the main thing: authenticity, audacity. Audacity, because there's a lot of chaos in clown that gets a little lost because we go to kiddie clown, and I love them to death. The doctor clowns, they're necessary. I love them to death, but you have to be careful because the clown is chaos, and you have to look to his circus roots a little more to understand that.
Okay.
Though I work on theater clown, which would be much closer to stand up.
But
Is this answering any questions, Marvin? I don't know if I'm close or far away.
no, you definitely did when you're talking about your weaknesses are your strengths, because that is something that a lot of that gets said in stand-ups. And yeah, when a lot of great comics talk about horrible things that have happened or talk about their faults, there's a lot of great comics that do that. Um, but we had a very interesting chat before the podcast, and you were saying that you did the Goliath workshop, and you can see why that favors um or the stand-up. And could you give it like a so stand-ups, they don't know much about clowning, but tell us why Goliath, from which in Goliath, is more attuned to the stand-up world than other worlds of types of clowning.
Well, I could see that. I could see that. I only did 1 week with Gaulier, and I can tell you, it wasn't very successful for me. I had been through 2 years of Lecoq School, and I had a clown that was highly formed from the school. I mean, highly formed. You need years and years and years for your clown to be anything. But anyway, I had a clown, and I came to the workshop, and we didn't have a good line of communication. But I can see that he encourages a kind of a, what can I say, a more conversational approach to a clown being in front of the public, more so than what I learned in Lecoq School or with Alain Gautret, for example, because it's more like I can't really describe it. It was 38 years ago, but it seemed like a more, yeah, a repartee almost with him in the public. He would ask you questions and get you to talk to him and get you to answer him or respond to what he was saying. And I don't know. I mean, I do that too. I provoke people when they're on stage as well, but it seems a little different. I don't know. I don't know really how to explain it. I think any clown training with a viable clown teacher would help you with stand up. I really think that would be helpful because you have to know what your universe is to be able to do a clown, to be able to be a clown.
And what do you mean by what your universe is?
Well, what your universe is, what do you look at? What do you see when you look at things? What do you find funny? What touches you? What makes you cry? What makes you angry? What makes you hungry? What are you hungry for? What do you like to eat? Do you want to screw women all the time? Or do you want to, what are your deep, dark desires? You have to go into this. This is your universe. This is how you start to see what your world is and how you can make that world a world for others to see and make them laugh. Of course, make them laugh. It always is about making them laugh in the end. But clowns are also can be very poetic and very touching as well.
Okay. And so a common thing with the stand-up world, a lot of them will criticize improv, or they'll criticize like musical comedy and clowns as well. Some of them are will say that they, unless it's jokes or set up punchline, they don't classify it as stand-up. And to those that do that, how would you help them see another point of view?
That they think musical shows and clown shows are.
They don't see anything else as comedy apart from sitting there and telling
Yeah, yeah,
jokes.
apart from stand up. Well, I could use history as an example. For example, we can go back to Commedia dell'arte. Commedia dell'arte had the Harlequino, which a lot of people think is the great, great, great uncle of the clown. And,
Oh,
it, you know, you don't have comedy without the clown. You don't have comedy without the clown. The clown is the purest form, and it's very ancient. And then when the circuses began, of course, the clowns were very necessary because they had to protect the riders doing trick riding. They took care of the horses. It was very important, and they are who brought us comedy from Commedia dell'arte and all of these clowns that in the ancient times, in Mayan times, in the time of the Aztecs, the Egyptians, they all had clowns. And they were usually priests and shamans, but they made people laugh. And so you can't really talk about comedy without going through the clown. I'm not saying it's
no.
superior to stand up at all. I'm saying that stand up became a thing after clown and through clown,
Okay.
because standing up there and directly dealing with the public is what a clown does.
Mm.
I'm probably going to make a lot of people angry with what I'm saying, but I'm used to that.
I think well, that's one of the things that I would like to get better at because I think you are going to upset people the wrong way. But if you go around trying to please everyone and trying to, I had a bit of a, I've only been, I had a bit of a toxic environment and situation last year, and I realized when I look back in it, uh, even if I get painted as the bad guy or even as the wrong person, it's better to be away from to have the wrong people dislike you than have the right people dislike you. Meaning that as as long as as long as the people that you admire and that treat you well are happy with you, then it doesn't really. If the ones that don't treat you with respect, don't treat you well, don't value you, um, what they think about you don't really matter. But as long as the people that matter like you, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I anyway, I've
Anyway,
been doing this too long to kowtow to anyone or to not say what I really think. I have to say what I really think. I've spent my life doing this. This is my this is my whole life. So of course I'm going to say what I think. And I think that stand up, I've seen some stand up comedians, young ones, who would benefit from a clown class. I mean, really, they would benefit from a clown class. I'm not saying that everyone does. Like, you take Kevin Bridges. I think he's hilarious. He
oh,
walks on the stage and he's hilarious. You look at him and you already start laughing. He's one of my favorites. He's just
oh,
brilliant. And his accent is so funny to
you,
to my ears. He's just brilliant. I just adore him. And Sarah Millican and Leanne Morgan. These people, they're very genuine, and they're very out there, and they're very, very, very much themselves. And they've honed it and searched it and made it big, because I've seen their earlier attempts and I've seen their later attempts and seen how they've grown. And it's because they become more and more like themselves, like a clown does.
yes, yes, yes. It's oh well, you need if you want to go and watch scene that is you like the fantastic, of course. I can't believe it. I just forgot his name. What's his name again? The
Kevin
name?
Bridges.
Yeah, Kevin Bridges. He's brilliant. He's amazing. But you need to go to Glasgow and watch the comedy clubs there. Oh my God. Yeah, no, the Glaswegians are brilliant. I love, I've had quite a few Scottish people on the podcast and they're brilliant and they're very friendly. You have a good laugh with them.
And they're generally funny.
Yeah. The-
I don't know what it is, but they're just hilarious. They just have a really great view of the world and very kind of upside down. way of looking at things, and I just love it. I just love them. But
Uh,
not only them. I mean, Leanne Morgan. She's from Tennessee, and she has a real strong Southern accent, which is part of her funniness too. And she just tells stories about her husband and her children, and she's like a mom who was a homecoming queen, but now she's just a mom, and she's hilarious. Or Sarah Millican, who looks like she should be working in a Costco, but she says these incredibly sexual things that are just like shocking, and she just says shocking things all the time. It's so funny. These things are being unexpected, the surprise, which is so important in comedy, the surprise, and this authenticity. I can't help but always go back to that. And that is what stand up and clown have absolutely. They're hand in hand, and it is authenticity. It's all about you finding what you do and what you're good at, and how you see things. What's your voice? What's your artistic voice?
um, Now, I got two things I want to ask on that. Is
Hmm.
for anyone that doesn't know about the clown world, that's from the stand-up world, would you be able to give a little intro about it and like tell us about how it works and the different types of clowning? For someone, these are people that have
That's
never even heard of it before. They probably only.
Well, it's very vast. The world of the clown is incredibly vast. You have all kinds of clowns. You have, um, well, let's use the Marx Brothers as an example. This is an example I often give. You have the white clown who is Groucho, and he's kind of intelligent, and he kind of like gets the others into some kind of hijinks. And you have the Auguste who is Chico, and he falls prey often to Groucho's schemes, but he can come out on top, often by mistake. And then you
Oh,
have the the Contrepitre, who is Harpo, who is in a completely different universe of his own. Like if Groucho puts a bucket of water on the door, and he calls Chico to come through, and and uh, um, and Chico gets it. He gets it, that there's water up there, and he shouldn't come through the door. So he finds all different ways to avoid it. And and then you have Harpo, who comes in and puts a blanket down and lays out a picnic and starts playing the harp. He's in a completely different universe. And the juxtaposition of this reality, this very real reality of Groucho trying to get Chico to come through the door, and everybody knowing what's going to happen if he does. And of course, what will happen is that Groucho will go through the door saying, "You just have to go through the door like this," and he gets the bucket of water. So this is an example of the hierarchy of clowns. And then you have Zeppo, who acts like Monsieur Loyal. He's the guy in the circus with the top hat and the whip. He's the authority figure. And most clowns need authority. They need an authority figure, or they have to have something that is holding them or keeping them in their little groove, if you will. So that is kind of an example of the types of clowns. But when I teach clown, I start teaching Auguste. I use a red nose, uh, uh, which you can take off eventually. You don't have to have a nose to be a clown at all. Um, but I use a red nose, and I use a series of very specific exercises that you have to go through. They're consequential. You have to follow them. You have to do one after the other. It's in a group of people, and these exercises are designed to help you find your auto derision. So, for example, I say, okay, come into the room, come to the center, make me laugh, then exit. But you see, that is the hardest thing to do in the world. You have no material, you come in, and generally, this exercise teaches you that what you think is funny is not funny. When you think you're being funny, you're usually not funny. And you learn how to fail. Because this is one of the most important things for a clown, is to learn how to fail. How does my clown fail? What does he do when does he get angry? Does he get shy? Does he try harder? Because this tells a lot about the type of person your clown is that how do you fail? We call it the flop. How do you take the flop? And so those are some very beginning things. I keep my clowns in my classes up and working, but they also learn a lot by observing the others work. I provoke a lot. I provoke them a lot, and that's a good thing. That helps them find other material.
How do you, what sort of triggers do you use to get, if they're in their shell and like, oh, I don't want to look silly, they're doing an exercise. I don't know if they're trying to walk over a chair and that's the exercise. How do you get them? How do you provoke them? Do you make fun of them? Do you say, what's he doing now? Or is
Depends
that,
on the personality. I can't answer that because it depends on the personality that I have in front of me, and it's very instinctive and it's invisible. What happens between me and that person is an invisible thing. It's many years of me watching clowns, and I can help them because I can feel what they're going through, and I can see the doors that need to be opened. And it's not a formula. It's a feeling. And it's like I said, it's invisible. I can't, there's no way I can like put it in a bottle and sell it, or make a list of things to do and put it in a book. I get very I'm wary about clown books that teach you how to be a clown. I'm always wary about them because I believe that you need to study with someone who knows what they're doing in order to become a clown.
Hmm.
So there's no formula, is what I'm saying.
you've just got to find your own way? And I think one thing that I had, there's a great comic, I think it's been going 30, 40 years, Ivor Dembina. He's in the UK and he says, before he does workshop, this workshop's not going to teach you how to be funny because otherwise I'll be doing that. It's like he just said he's going to give a little bit of advice and do a few triggers to help you get better from his years experience. And whenever I've spoke, I remember I said something to him, and then he says, "Look, I've been doing it for 40, 50 years, and I've never found the secret to being funny." And what you said there, and I think it's always going to be the case, is you will never have all of the answers, and you can never be, you just got to go out there and try. And it's a never ending life journey of finding out what works. You will never have the game fully solved.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lifetime's work. It's a choice of life. It's a life choice. It's not a it's not something that you do as a job.
Okay.
It's a life choice. Even clowning more than being an actor. Because as I said, I was first and foremost an actor. Excuse me. I was first and foremost an actor, and I became a clown later. And it took me a long time.
Mm.
It takes years.
But they're both very, in some ways, they're both very different. I did like an acting workshop, and I found this exercise very interesting where they would get two people to do a script and repeat the line again and again and again until eventually it created that moment, or they get you to sing happy birthday. And it's very, yeah, it's very enforced. I found that clowns very, yeah, what you said there about the exercise, I had that all the time in Goliath and in Matteo Destro. Like they would give you exercises, little bits of things before you get on. You'd watch someone else do it. For me, myself, I did quite well in the clown ones because I'm a bit of a knob. I think my sort of clown is I often think that I'm cleverer than what I am, but yeah, I'll do something thinking I'm more clever, and then I'll look like a complete idiot. I remember with Goliath, I did some stupid thing. I was wearing some mask. I couldn't see a thing, and he told me to walk up and down, and I don't know what it is in the schools. You got these black curtain things or whatever. I was walking up and down, doing all these things, and then I didn't notice at the time, but I was like a centimeter from walking into the wall, and they all started laughing. So then I kept on walking up and down, up and down. He kept on putting me the exercises, and I got a huge laugh. But I wasn't at all sure knowing what was going on, but they were, and I was doing noises. I don't know, and then I did another one where I was doing gibberish Spanish, and I play Asian Zor, and I was going, "Hello, babano, and I was wearing a Dalton outfit, going up and down. And there was another guy who was also wearing Dalton, and he looked like me. And basically, I did something really stupid. I forgot my hat or something, and the other guy was on stage, and so the other guy went in and just did what I did, and we just kept playing the game, and it worked. And it came because I forgot something, and then it yeah. But
Yeah.
I've always found that if I try and go in with nothing, it doesn't go well. I have to have something planned though, but I've got to be prepared for it to go any way it like a surfing wave or something. That's what works for me. I can't go in with nothing. I go in with some sort of plan, but I can't be too rigid. Otherwise, I'm screwed.
I understand. And there are a couple of things. You say you can't go in with nothing. Well, I teach you. That's one of the things I teach. I teach you to embrace nothing. That
Oh.
it's best to do nothing, and then it comes. It's magical when you embrace nothing, and you can just stand there and be. It's a miracle. Something comes every time. Something comes. And I think that's very important. I really think that's very important. But what you're describing in Goliath's class it just sounds absolutely perfect because you know your description of yourself that you think you're cleverer than you are. that's that's perfect. There's nothing better because you see the public, they saw you almost walking into the wall, and they probably pissed themselves laughing because they're more intelligent than you, therefore they can laugh, because that's one of the secrets. That's
Yeah.
one of the secrets of clowns, is that you allow the public to be superior to you. They know what's going to
Ah,
happen, and therefore not only can they see themselves in these situations, they're not in it, you are. So
ah.
then they can laugh. You see? And so that's perfect. That's a perfect example.
But that's also why we laugh a lot of sitcoms, isn't it? Because they'll have things like that, and we're glad we're not them. Like, have
Well,
you?
and they are, and we are like them.
Yeah, I'll
We
I'll
are
give
like them.
I'll give you one situation. Have you seen Only Fools and Horses?
No.
Okay, it's a very well-known British sitcom, and there's this amazing bit where the main character Del Boy, he's in a bar, he's sat by a ledge. I'll send you the video of it, like after the podcast.
Excellent.
A lot of people in Britain will know of it, but he's sat there and he sees a girl. They give him a sign, but I don't know, like hair toss or wink. I can't remember that, but he goes in. He's with his friend, and he goes, "I think we're in a here, winner here, Chig. You know what I mean, son? You know what I mean?" And the ledge, like the waiter walks past and puts the ledge down that he was leaning on, and he didn't know at the time. So he goes in and leans back and he falls over. And he looks like a complete idiot in front of those girls. And Trigger's a bit of an idiot as well because he doesn't know what's going on. So he starts looking around thinking he's disappeared. And then that makes it funnier. And then Doughboy gets up, right? And he goes in, uh, uh, drink up, son, drink up, son. I think it's better we go because he's so embarrassed about falling over in front of a gorgeous woman.
It's good. It's good. Uh, it's good. When the public is on to you, when they know what's going to happen. It's so funny because you'll hear them. They'll even say, "Oh, he's going to do that." He's like a well-known clown. They'll say, "Oh, he's going to do that thing. He's going to make that sound. He's going to make that sound." They want you to do it. They're expecting, "Oh, he's going to walk into the wall. He's going to walk into the wall." They want you to, you know. It's the setup, and then the thing happens, or a surprise happens. You know, selection B happens, which is even funnier.
Yeah. No, it is. I like. Yeah, that's the thing that I like about Goldie, and I like about a lot of the clowning comedy is that most of the time it's not trying to. It's just like you said there. It's just the simple things designed to make you laugh. I don't. I'm not really into. I admire comedians that can enforce their opinion, and you talk about really deep things like George Carlin and Richard Pryor, but I don't really want to go down that route. I just want to make people laugh and just have a good time. I don't really want to force people's when they come to watch me perform. I don't want to force my opinions down their throat.
Yeah, I understand. That's political comedy. Yeah. Well, there's only one George Carlin anyway. I don't think they broke the mold because I've never seen anyone like him. I mean, Richard Pryor as well. A little different than George Carlin, but they're both incredible, and uh, not many people can do what they did.
Yeah, but but that was their thing. I think
Yeah.
sometimes what I see in stand up is people see comics like them or Russell Howard and they like that kind of comedy doing this, but they keep trying to enforce something that maybe isn't for them. And I think, yeah, you're right with the clowning. The clowning might be better for them. Maybe they're funnier being an idiot, or maybe they're funnier doing that. That's not their personality that makes people laugh. Oh, yeah, what is it? There's not always a mathematical formula, is it? If someone's tall, good looking, they're gonna make people work a certain way. You can't always mathematicize this, can you?
No, you can't. There's absolutely no explaining it. Like I said, there are things that are invisible, and you just, first of all, the desire to be a clown has to be there. Without that, it's as in a stand-up comedian that it's a hard road. It's a hard road to hoe. It you have to really have great desire to become any of these things, any of the arts, to actually get in there and make a living and stay in it is a huge challenge in itself. So you have to know that you love it. If you don't love it, you you better go get a job in an office or something.
And
You
don't
have
do,
to be
yeah,
passionate.
and do what you're enjoying doing. At least if you're doing that, then you're not killing yourself with it.
Yeah, you have to do what you like. Of course you do. And it's so funny because I mean, I've often thought about what is it? What is the difference between a stand-up comedian and a clown? What is the difference? Because there are so many similarities. Like I said, talking directly to the public, like knowing your weaknesses, like being open and honest and in the moment. If somebody's phone goes off, you immediately, you say, "Can I talk to her?" You immediately respond. You don't let things go by. If a plane flies over and everybody hears it, you bring it into the room. You don't pretend like it didn't happen. These are things that are very common between a clown and a stand-up comedian.
Mm.
That and the finding your universe and finding your artistic voice. These are all very common. But where are they different? Where are they different?
I can tell you right. And correct me if this is only because of my limited experience of the theatre clown world. Because I only got two. I got my experience in two groups of Grolier when I was there in 2019 and 2022, and my experience of going Matteo Destra in terms of the clown theatre world and the stand-up world. I find it very different because I find that stand-ups come from. I noticed that the clowns and the theatre people, they're all on the left, and they're all very they're
They're
all
all what?
middle.
Sorry.
They're all left liberal thinking. and they're often middle class or they're upper class and they got money. But that's my limited experience. From stand up, there's a much wider range. There's all sorts. I wouldn't be able to do as many episodes as I had probably if yeah. I think there's a more wider range of people. I think because the courses cost so much in clowning. Like Goliath is about £8,000 for a year. And then Matteo Destro cost me €3,000. When you put those sort of prices up, you limit the type of people that go in, and that's the main thing I think. And they've done acting before, or they've grown up in the theatre world or doing acting. What's the stand? They can anything. They could be a builder, or they could be a plumber, or like some bin man, or martial artist, and they get into it, and you're on there. It's I think it's because the pricing of a lot of clowning courses, but are one of the reasons why I think the people that go into them are so different.
Hmm. And I think you said something also that's very important. A lot of people who come to clown have done theater.
Yeah.
They go through the theater door before they get there. A lot of them, and so that is a big difference. And yes, it is expensive. Clown teachers are expensive, and good ones are the most expensive of all. You know, clown school is expensive. Lecoq School is probably still one of the most expensive schools in Europe.
Oh yeah.
So it's a big deal. It's a big commitment that you're making.
I couldn't go because I would have to spend 2 years or 3 years getting fluent in French before I understood what I said.
Yeah, well, when I came, I didn't speak a word of French. I couldn't say "Où sont les toilettes?" I didn't know how to speak French. I came 2 months early and thought, oh, I'll learn French. Then I'll be ready for school. And I went to Alliance Française and I cried every day. Every day I was crying because I was like, I'll never be able to speak French. I'll never be able to speak French. But you know, we all spoke a kind of bastard French in Lecoq School. And then after I got out of Lecoq School, I had to unlearn that bastard French and learn proper French
Ah.
because my French was, you know, we spoke a French that we made between us. You know,
Oh.
7 nationalities trying to talk to each other in French. You make up a language
Oh.
so you understand each other. It's kind of Frenchy.
Ah. Well, French is the language of love. I know that in a lot of theatre schools there's a lot of fun. Sorry, I should not have said that. I should not have said that. I should not have said that. Oh God.
Well, it's true that there theater companies. Oftentimes, there are lots of little flirtations and love affairs going on. It's true, but I find as a director, I highly discourage it because it always ends in catastrophe. It's
Hmm.
always something that then spreads through the whole troupe, and you then everything goes to hell.
Are you saying that a lot of theatre groups have STDs? No, I'm joking. I should have said that. Sorry, I should not have said that.
No, no, because we stay between ourselves.
Oh, okay.
So,
No. It is. Yeah. For myself, right? I only went into clowning because I was recommended doing it. I'd be very bad at telling jokes, but I'll do something stupid on stage, and I went right with the crowd, and then I have people laughing. And it's still the case now, really. I can come up with the odd joke here and there, but I find it quite boring. I like crowd work and doing crowd things because you don't know what's going to happen. I feel telling jokes it's just a bit too still. It's not as fun for me. Um,
mhm,
but what was I getting? But I tell you what, when I did do some of these courses, when doing learning all these movements, and the teachers and the students would probably testify to this. My God, I was so thick doing all of it, and I still am, like trying to do this movement from the cock or like all of that. Like I don't even know where my arm is, and so many times they had to help me out, And they're doing these like forward front crawls. I still can't do it now. I was there, like, and they're like, "Who is this idiot that can't even do a front crawl or a back crawl?" And that's a lot of the times, and it felt quite embarrassing as well because you're with all these people that have been to acting or theatre schools. They know how to do these different things, and you're like, "Bloody hell, where's my left hand?" And you're always like, you don't even know what you're doing. You feel so stupid and silly. I mean, he's given me a lot of stories. Like, I remember when I was in Italy, I lost one of the lens of one of my glasses. And I had to get my parents to send it over. And it was like I was going through like a week with just one lens working because I can't see. And yeah, it was ridiculous. So many mad moments I've had in these theatre schools where I was being the idiot, and like so many times they had to do extra work. That's probably why a lot of them didn't like me in the end, but it is what it is. No, certain members. But I've
Oh,
always, one thing I will say, I think there's always drama in these theatre groups whenever you're doing a course. It's inescapable. And yeah, I'm,
it's a war of egos. That you brought up something very interesting when I was saying earlier. Yeah, we know what they're like, what the likenesses are between stand up and clown. What are their differences? That's a big one. In the work, when you want to be a clown, you have to have skills. You have to have some skill, like acrobatics, like dance, like aerial work, like juggling. You have to have some skill, and you have to be able to play an instrument. If you look at all the circus clowns, you can't really talk about clown without thinking about circus clowns. They all play an instrument and they all have skills, either acrobatics or quick change or aerial or something. And that is not necessary for a stand-up comedian.
mm. Yeah. Anyone can come in, but I think in some ways it makes it more interesting. I don't know. I just one thing that I would like with the clowning world is that they make it more accessible to all sorts of things, more people, wider range of people. In the Edinburgh Fringe, it's getting a bit too fixated, and you only hear one viewpoint. I'm a bit. So the one thing is, and you're not going to like me for saying this at all. And a lot of people that are from the clown will won't like me for saying this, but I would have it all drummed into me. Like people would say that their friends were doing Twitter posts on how to outwoke each other, or like they would always hammer down and say, "Oh, Trump's this or Trump's that," and like I don't want these views hammed down onto me. I just want to get on and study. And it's just, I don't know anything about political, but please don't force the opinion down on me and like, oh, I'm an idiot for not agreeing with you and this and that. And that that's in comedy, it's not always like that. There's a lot of different viewpoints. And yeah, there needs to be more people in the clown world. You can't just have a certain set of people and you want more variety in it in terms of
Well, I
from
think
the
you
ones
do
I've
have.
been to.
Yes, yes, of course, I understand. But you were going to similar experiences actually. But because like I said, there are all kinds of clowns. There are circus clowns, completely different thing. Completely different type of clowning. You have the uh, clowns without borders. Those clowns that are trained to work in very difficult situations, war situations, refugee situations. You have the doctor clowns, which is more of an accompaniment. It's an accompaniment for ill people and children who are dying of cancer. It's not at all like the theater clowns. I mean the circus clowns. And then you have the theater clowns, which is maybe something that you're a little bit more talking about, the theater clowns. Uh, but there, what was I going to say? Something about oh yeah, there's dark clown. There's the Petalili
Oh yes,
teaches
I
dark
chatted to her.
clown. Oh yeah, she teaches dark clown. And these that's a completely different kind of clowning. And I think that you also haven't met a lot of the street clowns because in France our street scene is very developed. It in fact gets as much money as the theater gets in terms of grants and stuff. And there are big shows. There are small and big shows in lots of festivals in the summer. Chalon-sur-Saône, Aurillac, Sotteville-les-Rouen. All these places have big festivals,
Okay,
and
I
these
didn't know.
clowns are again quite different. These clowns are quite different. They're somewhere between the circus clown and the theater clown. They're much rougher and more out there and more chaotic and more not at all like you're not at all woke. Not woke at all. You know, there are as many types of clowns as there are people who do clown.
Good. And I think, and I'm going to do a lot more podcast interviews to spread that round so that, because, yeah, no, and I know what I was saying there maybe came across the wrong way, but just I
No,
noticed
not
with,
at all.
there's some that I really don't get on with from both of them that I would have, but there's some absolutely diamond and fantastic people in both of them.
Yeah, I think this is true of anything, anywhere. It's kind of in a theater troupe, it is magnified, absolutely, because a theater troupe is like a little world of its own. So it's a microcosm of a macrocosm, and everything is happening in that microcosm, and everything is doubly serious. You know, everybody takes themselves so seriously. So, you know, except when you get on a high professional level. And
Ah.
then that's quite different because that kind of behavior is not acceptable except from a star.
Ah.
Star behavior is a totally different thing. Star behavior is usually permitted if you're really a star.
But for the most part, how is it in place on a big professional level? Do they stop that sort of nonsense happening?
No, it just simply it doesn't exist on a high level. It does, but you don't let it interfere with the work. You're there to do the work, and so your emotional state, you leave it at the door. Your problems, you leave them at the door. Your frictions between people, you leave it at the door. You have to, because you're there as a professional artist and you're there about the work, and you don't have these petty little things that happen. If they do, they happen in the bar afterward. They don't happen during rehearsal. And as a director, because I'm much more of a director and a writer now, I don't allow it in my rehearsal. Animosity between actors, I absolutely forbid it.
Hmm.
I will not have it in my rehearsal. Personal comments, I will not have it in my rehearsal. So it also depends on who's in charge, how things go down, you know?
Ah, yes, yes. Hmm. Oh, okay, okay. So what you said, are you saying that it's very important that in these environments that whoever's directing or running things make sure that people are in good stead? Otherwise, you're gonna.
Yeah, you make it's about the work. You're not there for people's personalities. There's no room for personalities. When you're there about the work, it's about the work, and you do the work, and you leave your problems home. You do not bring them to rehearsal. I'm sorry. I don't care if you've had a death in the family. You deal with that outside of my rehearsal. You don't bring it in my rehearsal. You and I'm the kind of director who has a lot of tough love. I'm tough. I'm authoritarian, but I give you a lot of love and I give you a lot of feedback and I support you in your search as an actor or a clown. But I do not tolerate any personal issues.
Hmm.
So yeah, it does depend a lot on the director.
Hmm.
And when you don't have a director, like I've seen a lot of creative collective creations I don't know if you've heard that term. It's called collective creation. It's
No,
when a
tell me.
group of people get together and they decide they're going to make a show, but they don't want anybody to be in charge because everybody's equal.
Oh,
I've never seen it work. I have never seen it work. There always has to be, even if it's not stated, there's somebody whose opinion is the one that cuts through all the garbage, and that's the opinion that counts the most. And this idea of creative, and I say no. This is an empire, and I'm the empress. So you do whatever you want because in the end, I will decide what we do.
what was the moments or things that led you to get to the point where you're not as bothered by what people say or liking you and getting the job done? Because I know that's a big thing for a lot of people. People are affected a lot by people's opinions and whether they're liked.
Oh, I think that's a lifetime battle as well, because you you have a tendency. We as artists, we're incredibly sensitive, and we're susceptible to people's opinions. And it's a very public thing that we do, comedians as well as clowns, as well as actors. We're asking the public to look at us. And basically, we're asking them to judge us whether they like us or don't like us. So it makes you very, very aware of what people think of you. And you have to get over that because it can kill you. It can absolutely kill you. And so I suppose when I was younger, I struggled with it. I worked through it. But then at a certain point, after a certain age, I just said, whatever, whatever. I don't care what they think.
Uh,
I know what I am. After let's say after you're 50, you don't you don't give a shit what people think. You just you do what you do, and that's what you do, and that should be good enough for anybody.
what advice would you give to people that are younger to get to that sort of mindset? Because I wish I logically it's in my head, but like in practice, it's not always in the. I find that for myself, if I think too much and I care too much about other things, it stops me from doing anything. And my dad always says, if you worry too much what people think, you won't walk out the door.
Yeah, it's true. You really mustn't fall into the trap. And the only way I know of combating that is to love yourself. I mean, to love that. I know this sounds really woke and really stupid, but you have to love that child in you, that child who's curious and innocent and in the moment and completely completely authentic because you haven't had time to learn how to lie. And you have to love that little child in you, and you have to laugh at yourself. If you laugh at yourself, then it doesn't hurt when other people laugh at you. So I think that those are the keys: loving yourself, laughing at yourself, staying in the moment, and keeping your curiosity alive. Curiosity about the other. Put your focus on the other. If it's the public, or if it's an object that you're working with, or if it's your partner on stage, put your focus on the other. Then you won't be thinking about yourself.
Hmm.
That's what being curious is about. You have to put all of your focus. I studied method acting when I was in drama school, and that was one of the most important things, is that you learn to put all of your focus on the other person. Everything you do comes from the other person. You don't fabricate anything within yourself. You are just reacting. And when you're reacting and you're totally focused on trying to see what's going on with the other guy, you're not focused on yourself. You're focused on the other. And you can do that with the public. And that's what I teach my clowns, to be totally focused on the public. that everything they do comes from the public,
Mm.
then you're not thinking about yourself.
Mm. And it takes the pressure off.
Sorry?
Takes the pressure off you.
Yeah, it does. It takes the pressure. It takes the pressure off, and it makes your work more interesting because you're completely in a state of the moment. You're not. That's what I always tell people. Clown. One of the main things about clown, red-nosed clown, for me, and the red nose teaches this. There's no past and there's no future. There's only the moment. A red-nosed clown can't say, "When I was 6 years old." That doesn't exist. He was born like he is, just the way he is, standing right there. And he is now. There is no future. He's not thinking about what he's going to be doing. He's only dealing with what's happening now. And the more you are focused on the other, whether it's an object, the public, or your partner, the more you are focused on them, the more spontaneous your work is. Because you're not worried about yourself.
Mm.
You're focused on the other.
That is something that's advice for standards and clowns. And what for
That
everything.
advice, what? Sorry?
That's advice for every performer out there.
Yeah, it's absolutely the truth. It's all the basis of all acting. Being in the moment. Focusing on the other.
Now, for anyone that is listening right now, what what would you say? No, what would you say is the thing you like to be remembered for, and
Me.
what is a one bit of advice you'd like to give to any comedian or clown out there?
Well, the thing I'd like to be remembered for, geez, that's hard. Um, uh, that I loved my work and that I was truthful. And the advice I would give to anybody, clown or comedian or anybody, is love yourself, take care of yourself first, and only like that can you take care of others or be concerned with others. And and have a laugh. You know, it's really short, the time we have. Have a laugh. Laughter is the great healer. And the greatest thing you can do is make people laugh.
Oh, I agree. Now, if anyone's listening and they want to get in touch with you or find out about you, where's the best places for them to go?
I have a website which is a little out of date, but I'll fix that. It's leedelong.com. Pretty easy. It's my name.com. Um, I have an agent in Paris, Cindy Brace Agency. That's for me as an actor, really. The best way is to get in touch with me. I have a contact thing on my website.
Okay.
And that's just my name, so easy enough to remember.
All right,
Or
guys.
call Eva.
Oh, yes. Call Eva.
She knows how to get in touch with me.
Now, for anyone, guys, I hope you've enjoyed Lee Delong. Make sure you give this episode a review on Amazon or iTunes or Spotify. Also donate to the Patreon. And yeah, if you did not, well, just keep it to yourself and don't tell a single soul about it. All right, it's your dirty secret. Like a mistress and the husband. No, oh my God. Okay. But yeah, take care, guys.
Thank you very much, Marvin. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for coming on the podcast, Lee. I enjoy.